Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our look back at the Parodius series on the Sega Saturn. Today we're looking at the next game released in Konami's Parodius series. It's also one of the most talked about. Today we take a look back at Sexy Parodius. Sexy Parodius is in some ways the oddity of the Parodius series. The story is that Takasuke has opened up an agency of some sort that helps clients with problems. The rest of the cast take a part as employees, trying to fulfill the client's demands. Although levels essentially play out as other games in the series, this game takes a bit of a twist. The demands of the client may be to collect a certain amount of coins, mice, machines, or some other item. Collecting a designated number of these items is the only way of getting the true level and game endings. The issue here is the difficulty of achieving this. Although getting to the end of the level is not too difficult, the chances of having collected all of the required items is very slim. In one example, you have to collect 300 coins, and this is well out of proportion of the likelihood of this happening. You'll progress to the next stage, but it's always a little disappointing to see the mission failed screens in between levels. Why the game objectives are this difficult, I'm not really sure, but personally I feel that this was a misstep in the series. On to the second departure from the rest of the series, which is the sexy issue. The game is marketed as a game containing sexual themes and innuendo. This can be seen in many of these levels, particularly in the stage bosses. I've played my share of supposedly explicit games and I've come to expect some quite extreme things from Asian gaming in particular. I was surprised at how tame the game actually was though. I'd describe the game as reasonably family friendly, slightly suggestive in places, but nowhere near the level of rudeness you might expect. Personally, I found this the largest surprise of the game. There are a few scantily clad female characters portrayed in the game, but nothing more than you would expect to see in many other games. The censors seem to agree. Sexy Parodius has no age restriction certificate, ranking it as suitable for all. I think that this is one of those cases where internet reviews have blown things out of proportion. There is definitely no way I would interpret this as an adult game, other than perhaps one level featuring a naked lady. However, we're not shown any explicit imagery here. As with the other games in the series, little else of the Parodius formula has been changed. I see this game as a little bit of a lost opportunity. The collecting items system really didn't appeal to me as a gamer, and the sexy theme really wasn't more than a gimmick at best. The game does feature some classic moments of the series though. This raccoon fight is rather iconic and amusing, as well as the battles against the corn, the penguin with the toilet on his head, but perhaps the highlight of the game is the crossover with another Konami franchise, Castlevania. It was interesting to hear a new arrangement of a classic tune used here, and the Medusa fight is a memorable addition to the series. As you would expect, Konami have delivered on some good packaging though. The front cover is really well illustrated and overall in line with the rest of the series. The manual and disc also follow through with style and quality. So, is Sexy Parodius a good game? The humour is here, the characters are here, and the soundtrack is solid. However, I found that the small changes really didn't add to the gameplay, and in some way detracted from the game series that worked so well as it was. On the other hand, if this game didn't try to stand out, we would have ended up with a carbon copy of Parodius Dar, so I do appreciate that things needed to change. Overall though, I really didn't get the joke, and Sexy Parodius, at least in my view, has become the black sheep of the family. It's certainly playable though, and not a disaster by any measure. Here are a few highlights.
Yakuza Go.
One final Parodius game was to be released on the Sega Saturn in 1996, Parodius Forever With Me. Join me in the next episode for the conclusion of our Parodius mini-series retrospective. We talk Forever With Me, rarity, and collector's prices. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe, and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!